Hey guys!
Happy Wednesday.
Welcome back to Devotions with Emma and Sammy. We are so excited that you're here with us today. Today, we are going to be talking about one of the parables that Jesus told his disciples. So that's where we're going today. And then we're going to talk about what does that mean for us. But first, we're going to go over to Emma for our main idea and verse.
Yes, so our main idea today is an impossible debt, and our verse is from Matthew chapter 6, verse 12. Forgive us our sins as we have forgiven those who sin against us.
Thank you, Emma. So, today we're going to talk about forgiveness. And one of the ways that Jesus explained these ideas that were kind of hard to understand was by telling stories. So, I'm going to do a quick paraphrase of one of the stories that Jesus told to his disciples. So, Jesus is with his disciples, and one of the disciples named Peter comes to Jesus and says, "Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me?" And he says, like 7 times? What is there a number you can give me? And Jesus says, not 7 times, but 70 times 7 times. Basically saying you should always forgive your brother or sister, a huge number. And then he tells a parable. And parables were short stories that he would tell to explain this idea, and they had a deeper meaning to them. So Jesus tells the parable about a king and his servant. So the king goes to his servants because he wants to settle debts. So when you settle debts, it means someone has borrowed money from you and you want to get that money back from them. So he goes to his servant, and his servant owed him 10,000 bags of gold, which is a lot of money. The king goes to the servant and says, "I would like you to pay me back my money." And the servant starts to beg, and he says, "I can't pay back the money, I don't have it." And the king decides, instead of making him pay the money back, or the punishment for not paying back your debt was jail, instead of doing either of those, he says, "You know what? I'm going to cancel your debt," which means you don't ever have to pay me back. I'm going to cancel it. And showed this man forgiveness for this debt that he owed him. So this servant is probably feeling pretty good. And he goes back, and then he sees one of his friends who's also a servant. And his friend owed him a couple hundred coins. Not a lot of money. So the servant goes, "Hey, you owe me a couple hundred coins. I'd like for you to repay your debt now." And his friend says, "Hey, I'm really sorry. I can't pay back that money right now." And the servant gets really mad and says, "If you can't pay it back, I'm going to put you in jail, because that's the punishment for not repaying debts." And he puts his friend in jail. And when the king hears about this, he calls the servant in and he says, "What are you doing? I forgave your giant debt, and you can't even forgive this debt of your friend who owed you a couple hundred coins." And then the king actually throws the servant in jail until he could repay the debt that he originally forgave. And Jesus tells this story, and it's to represent that he's forgiven our sins, and that's huge. We've made a lot of mistakes, and there's a lot of times when we have not done what God wanted for us, or we've gone against what God wanted for us, but he forgave us all of our sins. And so his whole idea is that if he can forgive something that big, then we can forgive something that people have done against us. And just like Emma read from the verse, it says, "Forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us." Where have you heard that before? Maybe you've heard it while we say the Lord's Prayer when we're at the program. That's a huge part that we say. "Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us," which basically is saying, forgive us our sins, forgive the things that we've done wrong, so that we can forgive things that people have done to us as well. So we're going to keep thinking about this idea of forgiveness, and I want you to ask yourself, who do I need to forgive? Who has done something wrong to you, and you need to forgive them for what they've done? So I want you to keep thinking about that question, but we're going to head over to Emma for our invitation.
Yes, so today is Summer Leisure Day. So to celebrate, we would like to invite you guys to spend some time outside relaxing, if the weather allows that. Relaxing looks different for everyone. I know for me, I will be reading a book on my hammock outside, but do whatever feels right for you. We hope you enjoy it, and we will see you tomorrow, guys. Bye.
Bye.